the staff, the martial arts staff, is a staff a good weapon? Is a martial arts staff a good weapon? The short answer is yes. We're gonna go over why and how to fight with a staff. How you can fight with a staff is very simple. We've got thrusts, we've got blocking motions, shoving motions, and we have basic striking motions. But is a staff a good choice for a weapon? Is a staff a good weapon? And the first reason the answer is yes is because you have reach. I had to make sure the blade was on the right side. They put this blade on the opposite side. From here, I have this very nice, long, sharp knife, hard knife, very useful, effective for self-defense, but it's this long compared to this martial arts staff. This is the Jo, the Japanese Jo, or the medium-sized martial arts staff. So the medium-sized martial arts staff is 50 to 54 inches long, sometimes 48 inches long. If you want to see a high-quality Jo, my favorite weapon for practical self-defense, you can double it as a walking stick, as a hiking stick. You can thrust immediately to stop the attacker. You can swing through, you can swing down on top, you can bring it into that backhand. You can do a lot of things with the Jo. If you want to see what a Jo costs below, high-quality Jo from Cane Masters, that's the first link. But look at this. This is the length advantage, or the reach advantage you have when you use the medium-sized martial arts staff. Now I have what I call an improvised staff, or an improvised fighting stick right here, and I wanted to show you that. I say all the time that sticks are everywhere, and that you can defend yourself with any stick that you can find if you train with a martial arts staff. So can you defend yourself with a staff? Can you use a martial arts staff for self-defense? Absolutely. Can you hurt somebody with a staff, especially one of these, or that link below, that hard Jo from Cane Masters, the one that I prefer? Yes, it's oak, it's extremely hard, it's extremely durable. It has a nice heavy weight, smashing on top of the head, swinging through, breaking the joints, thrusting through the middle of their body, puts them on the ground very quickly. You have that reach advantage. But look at this. This is a shorter painter's pole. Now, there are two things that I've spent my adult life and my youth doing more than anything else. One is martial arts, the other is painting. I grew up painting. My father was a painting subcontractor, and I spent a lot of time with the brush and the painter's pole and the sander's pole, and I'm talking thousands of apartments painted over a lifetime. And every time I need extra money, I fall back on painting. So I have all my painting tools. They're always here. This is one of my favorite lengths of a painter's pole when I have to do a quick job. A bathroom, a hallway, a small apartment, 9-inch roller on the end of that. But look at how it's made. This is fiberglass, and this thing is aluminum, this pole here. And of course, it's expandable. So now I can increase my reach. I still have striking, bringing it down here. I can bring the back side through, the front side through, jabbing down on top, lifting them up under from the bottom, blocking, pushing, shoving, knocking somebody back, and it's very powerful and effective. And if you are near a job site, or you have one of these in your truck because you're a worker, or you have one lying in the garage or around the house and you happen to be outside and you need to defend yourself, then you have a practical self-defense tool. This is just as simple. It comes from Sherwin-Williams right there. But so many different companies make them, and you can get them anywhere, right? And I'm not saying that you would buy one of these for self-defense training. What you would do is you would get yourself a martial arts staff for self-defense training. So is a martial arts staff a good weapon? Yes, because it will train you how to use one of these. If you don't happen to have your martial arts staff with you, can you defend yourself? How do you fight with a staff? The same way you fight with a painter's pole or a mop or a broom. Or I was at the beach. Someone asked me the other day and said, is it possible to find, because they called me on it. They said, you're always saying there's sticks everywhere. Prove it. Show us some sticks. And I was at the beach and I was driving down, and the people down here, it's Memorial Day weekend. So you have a lot of people fly in, rent a car. They go to the grocery store or the pharmacy, and they pick up these inexpensive umbrellas, and they're two-piece. They're a pole that goes in the sand, and then a pole that goes on it, and then it opens up, and there's the umbrella or the parasol, and it shades them, and they're cheap, and they're not made to last. And at the end of the weekend, they take these things, or at the end of the day, and they shove them in the trash cans all along the beach, all along the boardwalk as you're driving up and down looking for a place to park. I counted three of them on the last trip. We just went there today. I saw one so far, but we were there early. We were there earlier in the week, there were three. And I got out of the car, walked up, and sure enough, every one of them had that double pull. Or you could take the umbrella out itself, the sand umbrella, you pull it out, and you have a reach weapon. You have a striking, swinging weapon, dropping it down. You can hold it with two hands. And yes, it might still have the umbrella attached, or that second piece, the one that you dig into the sand, that pulls out, and it's got a little point at the end. And it's about as long as a collie stick or a hanbo, the short martial arts staff. So can you fight with a martial arts staff? If you learn how to fight with this and you're at the beach, you need to defend yourself. There's an umbrella in the trash can, you whip it out, and all of a sudden you're thrusting, slashing, dropping it down on top, shoving them off, blocking if you have to. And again, that beach umbrella is going to be longer than that super sharp knife, that steel blade that you don't want anywhere near your body. Look at that reach advantage. They have that, and you have this medium-sized staff, this martial arts Joe. So is a martial arts staff a good weapon? Absolutely yes. If you can carry it, you can also pick up I always say, go to invest your time before you invest your money. So if you have an old broom, cut off the broom head. If you have a hardware store near you and you can go buy a dowel rod about 48 inches to 50 inches, buy that, sand it down, put a little oil on it, and then you have a martial arts Joe you can practice with. And it costs you $5. Learn how to fight with this thing. And here's how you fight with the staff. Number one, put it between you and the threat. It's in the front hand, point the thumb, and then you just thrust to create distance right through the center of their body. So it's in your front hand, you point your thumb, and then you simply thrust. Second motion is this angular strike coming down and across their jaw, their temple, knock them out into the neck, breaking one of those joints. From here, just smashing straight down. The next way to fight with a martial arts staff is that backhand punches forward. This hand stays on it, just coming around. So I have thrusting. You have this dropping it down at this angle. Then you have this backhand coming straight through. And then, of course, you can thrust with the backside. You can also take this and shove. And this staff, this martial arts staff, right against the nose, the teeth. Is a martial arts staff a good weapon? Yes, because it's harder than the flesh on their face, than their eyes are. It's harder than their ears. It's harder than their throat and their neck. And when you take this and shove it right into those soft, vital spots, your goal is to, for self-defense, street fight self-defense, remove whether their eyesight, their ability to breathe through their mouth, their throat. That's permanent, right? That's it for self-defense. Breaking those joints, you can do that with this shoving motion. And if they grab hold of it, simply spin and then strike them. They hold your staff, spin it very quickly to the side, one side up or the other side up. Either way, hands can be like this, hands can be like this. Doesn't matter how your hands are or their hands are. You're gonna turn it and drop it. Now, someone brought up a good point. They said, if someone grabs your staff, they'll likely twist it too. If they do start to twist it, continue to go with them. And as it comes up here, then just stick it down as hard as you can on the top of the head. Try to turn off their operating system, knock them out. After that, then thrust back into the middle. Now this is the Joe. And again, if you want to see what a Joe costs, there's a high quality Joe in the first link below. The second link in the description is for general martial arts weapons. But if you learn how to fight with this, then you can pick up anything of a similar length that might be in your environment when you're walking around. We went to the ice cream shop near the beach, and there's a sign in the sand. I checked it, it comes right out, but it was a stake. It was a metal stake, and it had a plastic sign. It's not even plastic, it's one of those core boards that I could just snap it off if I needed to. I'd probably leave it on and slash them with that. But again, it was about the size of a hanbo, a shorter martial arts staff, but I could then use that hard metal stake, which is basically a stick, pull it out of the ground. Now I have a self-defense tool. At the ice cream shop, there were a pair of tongs like this long. And you know, the tongs that you take like a hot dog off, guess what? They sold hot dogs there at the coffee shop, right? So you have a hot dog tong. That's a short stick. Longer than this, or shorter than this, but still longer than that. And that's the whole point. If you have something that you can create that distance and keep them away, you don't want them close enough, especially if they know how to use it, to slash or to stab with a knife. I need to practice that, my bala song. It's been a while. As a kid, you know, you do these things, you pick these up, but don't play with knives. It's not a good idea. Don't play with knives unless you want to learn how to use a knife, and then do it in a smart way. But still, don't play with knives. If you're a kid, don't play. If you're a kid, you shouldn't be watching this, right? This is for the adults. Martial arts is always for the adults to start with. But if you are a kid and you act like an adult, then you're welcome to join us. From here, if it's in the back hand, you're going to lift and thrust. So, is a martial arts weapon a good choice? Is it a good weapon? Can you even use it for self-defense? Absolutely. Can you hurt somebody with a martial arts staff? The Jo or the bow staff, which is just the longer version, absolutely yes. It is a good weapon and you can defend yourself very effectively. So I'm going to switch to this longer martial arts staff. This is the second link below if you're looking for a bow. And it's about as tall as I am. Now, you ask me all the time, how long should your bow be? It depends on how tall you are. If you are, say, 5 feet tall, and your bow is 6 feet tall, it doesn't have to be that tall. You can have a 5-foot tall bow, and that works as a bow for you. It should be a little taller, a little shorter, or about the same height as you are. Don't overthink it. Use what you have. If you have a shorter one than you are, then you really have a Jo. Doesn't matter if you have a staff and you love to use a staff and you want to learn how to defend yourself. It does not matter as long as you get started. Don't wait to start until you have the perfect length. If your martial arts staff is in the back hand, this is how you fight with a martial arts staff with it in the back hand. We said if it's in the front, point the thumb and thrust, strike, 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 and shoving strike. You can also block up or block to the side, but I'd rather teach you how to hit them first and not try to spend time blocking with their strikes, right? Especially if they have a knife. A lot of people get focused and fixated on the knife, and when they have that knife, you start looking at that, and they know what they're doing, or you have bad timing, you're gonna get hurt. Oh, this t-shirt is in the link below too. I have a whole bunch of shirts coming in, this exact same design. If you wanna get one, you can see in the link below. That's how I keep the lights on. That and your memberships. Thank you for all of the members. And I see your comments, I just don't have time to read them yet, but I will. I'll go back and I'll read them. This knife, close, or you start focusing on this knife, you start looking at it while they bring it around and you're trying to block that with your staff, you're trying to stop. Don't waste your time with that. Instead, as soon as you see the knife or you suspect there's a knife or you don't want to wait and see if there's a knife, you know you're in trouble and you have it in the backhand this time. This is how to fight with a staff. Stick it right in their eye, right? If they have a knife and you're looking at the knife, you're going to get cut. If they have a knife and you stick your staff right in their eye, they're not going to be able to get you and stab you with the knife. So instead of trying to block the knife, don't learn intricate moves. Yes, there are many really cool, fancy blocks that you can do with your bow staff. You can also learn how to do all of the spins and the tricks with the bow. But all of that is not for practical self-defense. For practical self-defense, how do you fight with a bow? How do you fight with a martial arts staff? You lift it. See how that just comes up? And this hand is now blocking this side of your head. This arm is blocking this side of your body. And the staff is between you and their threat or their attack. The other hand just comes straight onto it. From here, here. Maybe you're like a shepherd. You're walking down the street. Pop it up, thrust. That first motion is a very powerful thrust. If I'm here, it's in my back hand. I lift, and now I thrust straight in. After the thrust, you're in position to come down with that second strike that you already practiced. So from here, you're going to bring it up. Oh, I see Karate Mart in the house. I've been missing you guys. You know what? In honor of, you know what? I don't have any Karate Mart weapons, right? Yes, I do. Can you get me the light up staff? We're going to use a Karate Mart staff. from here, it's one of the best sources. If you guys haven't gone and checked out KarateMart.com, some of the best innovative martial arts self-defense weapons, self-defense style, so no joke weapons. From here, bring it up, you have this thrust, you have this strike. From here, coming down, you have this one coming back and through, sweeping, and then again, shoving straight back, knocking them off. Thank you, sir. I have my assistants with me today. Uh-oh, my batteries might be dead. But here we go. Yes, you do. So Karate Mart, this is one of my favorite staffs, and I'm gonna tell you why. 3 reasons. 1, it looks really cool when I turn off the lights and we're doing some kind of demonstration, and I know the lights are on, I'm not gonna be able to turn them off, and you can see this weapon lights up. I don't know if you can see that. The batteries are a little low. This side's a little bit brighter. But it goes back and forth. Great weapon. Second, it's nearly indestructible. It flexes a little bit more like you would have a Chinese style staff or some of the Korean style staffs. And my favorite, this is my favorite thing about it. Look how thick that is. So you want to build some power in your grip. You want to get wicked strong grip. Use this kind of a staff. This thickness, this nearly indestructible, my words are off a little today. The beach, we were outside playing in the sun. It's gorgeous down here. Green flag, if you know what a green flag means, that means the water was pretty flat. Everybody and their brother was there at the beach. I missed you if you were there. But you're bringing this around, this staff is one of my favorites because it builds, it gets heavier the faster you spin it because of the flex. The faster you spin, the better the flex. Bring it one side, bring it the other side, and it's, like I said, nearly indestructible. I keep forgetting high impact PVC. Is that what we call it? You know better than I do. Anyway, I throw this into my training at least once a week. I don't even turn the lights on half the time because it's just me. But I do it so that I can use this bigger diameter. See that? It's just a little bit bigger. Anyway, great staff. We'll come back to that maybe in the end. But can you use a staff to defend yourself? Yes. Is a staff a good weapon? That's absolutely a good weapon. And let's go back to the Joe. I want to show you the Joe again because, in my opinion, the Joe is one of the best weapons you can train with. I love to use, we use that for lightsabers. I also have double-bladed lightsabers, usually on the weekends. This is the weekend. This is the holiday weekend. We'll probably get a couple of double-bladed lightsaber videos up this weekend, some tutorials. But using this size staff, well, yeah, I mean, the Karate Mart, the thicker size diameter, that's what this is. This is 1.25 inches, which is about the same as the Karate Mart staff that I just had. This is that red oak. I'm going to tell you guys a secret about this red oak. And I'm only going to say this because Karate Mart's watching. Karate Mart, all their weapons are made, and I've never seen one of them break. These break all the time. It's so frustrating for me to be promoting something that comes. The only good thing about it is the company that supplies these, they'll replace it if you call them. But a lot of people, they'll hit this a little too hard and they feel like, and then it cracks. And they're like, oh man, I destroyed my own weapon. Well, it shouldn't crack, but it does because this is that imported garbage from usually China, sometimes Pakistan, and it dried out on the inside. This is red oak. Red oak dries out really poorly on the inside, and when wood dries out, it breaks. Can I have that other thin one, the metal one in the corner? This one, because it's shorter, it's not gonna break me. Red oak, my white oak I've had for over 30 years. I've never broken it, and I've hit against everything. And I used to do sparring with people with it all the time. The one over there, the thin one. But if you need a training tool, I like this diameter, I like this weight. For a Joe, it's a little short, but that's why the link below. I finally found the best quality that I could find made of wood, which is that first link below, which is the Cane Masters. The guys that make the cane, nearly indestructible canes, they also make have made me a Joe by request. I said, I want this Joe, I want to be able to offer it. He said, absolutely. And he's going to have me the one this week. Same quality, and it's white oak, and you put the oil on it, and it's never going to break. This thing, these will sometimes break. Yes, I taught and sometimes still teach like a beginner class in fencing. I love fencing. I love the 3 swords, especially the foil, and the Japanese sword and Korean sword. We've done it all the time. White oak is my favorite for a staff. I've always liked the white oak staff. All right, it doesn't matter what the wood is. The question is, what's your favorite wood for a staff? As long as it's not dried out. And if you are a martial art supply company and you get a whole container load from overseas and it's all dried out on the inside, you know that that's going to break the first time someone hits it against the ground. And I know what it's like because I used to spend a lot of time going back and forth to Korea, especially in Asia. You don't always get a good supply, and you got to haggle, and they're so good at haggling, and then you're arguing about whatever. But this is also one of my favorite staffs. This is on the other end of the spectrum. This is super thin, but it's aircraft grade aluminum. It has a nice heft to it. It has some weight. And this is also a great staff to do demonstrations with. But for self-defense, I can create massive amounts of distance between me and the threat. They've got a knife. You learn how to fight with a staff. Is a staff a good choice? Is a staff a good weapon? A martial arts staff? Yeah, martial arts staff is a good weapon. Is a bow staff a good weapon? Yes, it's an excellent weapon because of that length difference. I can almost not show you. I almost can't get out of the screen, right? Look how short that knife is now. Right here, that's scary. It's scary to me, just looking at it, right? Get that up and close, and especially if you've ever seen somebody who's been slashed or seen somebody who's been lacerated and they can't save them with the lacerations, especially because, and if you ask a lot of law enforcement, they'll say, I'd rather be shot than stabbed. And that's because they've seen what happens. Somebody gets stabbed 48, 60, 142 times. But you have this distance. You can create lots of distance, learn how to strike all parts of the body, thrust, hit them before they hit you, stop them before they can create that, close that gap. Then you can do that. Now this one is I'm gonna lose my train of thought here real quick. The name of this company is Combativ, combativ.com. Starts with a K, KOMBATIV.com. Also, amazing martial arts weapons. Amazing martial arts weapons. And yes, thank you, Combativ. I was trying to send you the mental message. I didn't want to make any conflagrations or anything. I didn't want to do any crossover. But Combativ, amazing company, high quality, extremely durable. I've had this for a couple years now, and I love to work out with this too. So, but the point is this: is a martial arts staff a good weapon? And the answer is always going to be yes. And that goes back to where we started. Hold on, I'm trying to grab them with my toes. I'm not long enough with my feet. And the answer is yes, because when you have this, yeah, don't bring a knife to a staff fight, Karate Mart said. And by the way, if you guys haven't gone to KarateMart.com, you really have to go and see them, because I think, it's hard with SEO and all that stuff, and how do you get seen? And I know you guys have a big following, but some, like the innovation behind the weapons, and I especially love the idea, I haven't tried one yet, but like the staffs that come apart, the expandable staffs and those kind of stuff. I like that idea because that gives you a lot more options for everyday carry. But if you train, if you just grab a regular martial arts staff, is a staff a good weapon? Yes, because you can train with it. You can spend all kinds of time learning different moves, different techniques, how to block, how to strike, how to create distance, how to use it in the most effective way humanly possible. Then you're out and about and there's a painter's pole and someone comes out with a knife and you look over and you see in the corner a broomstick, a mop stick, a long spatula from the chef's table or from the grill. Maybe there's a what we say, we're at the beach. There are some umbrellas that the weekend tourist threw their umbrella away because they don't know what to do with it. They can't take it back on the plane. They just throw it on the beach. They throw it away. And there's all kinds of sticks everywhere. Maybe it's an actual stick. And you have, like this one, this expandable one, right? Yeah, and like I said, before you guys got here, I grew up painting. I grew up doing two things. All my time, well, I was a voracious reader forever. I used to read anything and everything I could. And then I started reading nonfiction, like biographies and autobiographies. I never went back. I can't even watch, I could barely watch a fiction anything or read anything. If it's not real, I don't want to know about it. That's just how I am now. But painting, I grew up painting, sanding the walls with the sanders pole, painting, brushing up, brooming. And that's where I really got into spinning. I had been doing martial arts since I was a little kid. I started in judo, though, and if you know anything about judo, you don't know me, but judo, I can't make that work. But you might know that in judo, there are no weapons, right? And, but I got into other martial arts, karate, taekwondo, and in those schools, especially the Korean schools that were more traditional, they did just about everything. All kinds of weapons. And the nice thing about the Korean schools, where it was kind of a blend of the Chinese and the Korean style, was more Chinese and Japanese style. So there's a lot of crossover. So you have both this type of technique, two-handed technique, Chinese style, and then you have this type, which was more of the Budo or Kobudo, the Okinawan style, Japanese style. So, and then, the Koreans, after a while, they said, oh, well, the Hwarang warriors and all, again, it said Kuksodo and, the Shilla dynasty. And we used these staffs back, and they kind of, I'm not saying they made it up, but I'm saying, Korean nationalism after the war emerged, and it emerged in the martial arts too. But you learn how to fight with a cho, a short martial staff, then you can learn how to fight effectively with a painter's pole. It's just jabs, it's striking on top, it's thrusting motions. How do you fight with a martial arts staff? Thrust, push, strike. And yes, you can block up and block down, but like I said, maybe that's reactive or instinctive. As you're backing up, then throw that strike. And if you can hit them before that knife comes out, or you hit them first, then you're in great shape. It's far better than trying to take away a knife from somebody, is to smash them on the head, knock them out, or blur their vision, or make it so they can't breathe temporarily or permanently for self-defense. And that's just, so many things. This is the shorter, what is that, 2 to 4 feet. 2 to 4 feet. I've got them because I've painted really tall. I've got 18-foot poles. Now that might be a little extreme, but that'd be fun too. And I've done that, where I'll be outside spinning an 18-foot painter's pole without a brush or you have to take the thing off first, or you're going to be paying for some paint jobs on the cars. But I'm just out there spinning and seeing what you can do. You got to put your hand up here so you don't hit the ground, but it's a lot of fun. It's a good way to improve your overall dexterity and to challenge yourself to grow. Try something new, do something new. But pick up sticks, any sticks. And like I said, if you don't want to spend the money at the beginning until you know if you're going to love it or you're really good at it, then invest your time before you invest your money. You should do that anyway. It's like if you wanted to join the gym to get in shape. Do it for 2 weeks. Challenge yourself. Every day, do 50 squats, 50 push-ups, 100 jumping jacks. If you can do that every day for 2 weeks, then go buy a gym membership. If there's any one day that you don't do the jumping jacks, the push-ups, and the squats, then give yourself another week. Until you go consistently, you wake up and get out of bed, before you do anything else, you do jumping jacks, do your squats and your push-ups, you get into the habit of doing that every day, then you go to the gym. Then you spend your money because now you're not going to waste it. Most people get the gym membership, never go. Most people have the martial arts bow, never spin it. Most people get the home gym equipment, never use it, right? So invest your time, then invest your money. Pick up the painter's pole, extend it, practice, put it in that front hand, thrust. Put it in I gotta lock it. Put it in the back hand, thrust. It's in the backhand, it comes to here. It's the front hand, you point the thumb, thrust. Practice the downward angle, strike. Put in the backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do that every day for 2 weeks. Then get your pocketbook out, get your wallet out, your credit card. Go online, go to KarateMart.com and buy one of those super cool weapons that speaks to your soul, because now you've already invested. You know you're going to practice. You know you're going to do it. You know you now have created the discipline, and no one can give you discipline. You don't give yourself discipline, then you are out of luck. Hey, Henry, is that short thing that's up there? I wanted to show you guys this Yawara stick, since we're talking about the new one that came in the mail. The metal one that was in the bag.
Yeah, which one? There's two.
Perfect. Not that one, the other one. My assistant's over there. He's helping me out again. Yeah, a tracheotomy and a pill. Since we talked about Kubotan this week, which is basically a Yawara or a palm stick, the Koreans have a dongbong, which just means short stick. And there's a little string. It comes on your hand, and it flips around. But check this out. Yeah, this Yawara is titanium. In Karate Mart, you'll get a kick out of this. I talked to the gentleman who makes them. He is retired, and he spends all of his money feeding the squirrels and the ducks and the birds and and he's helping people. He's a nice guy, but he came up with this idea. And he's a jewelry maker, and this is titanium. This is a medium weight, so it's not super lightweight. This is made for a big chunky hand like mine. But this thing here, which does not move, this makes it not move out of my hand. Now I have like the perfectly sized Yawara. And I was talking to this gentleman, his name's Joe, or I think it's Joe. Anyway, he's in New York somewhere. And I said, hey, look, I'm gonna be down talking to a couple of contacts of mine in the next week. I want to promote your device, and let's get it on for some wider distribution. So this is kind of a cool, I wanted to show you that. And it's not, the guy sells a whole bunch of them, but you have something like this, you now have the ability to strike. But how do you strike? The old days, the Yawara, the Kubotan, Master Kubota, Sensei Kubota, there are a lot of joint locks, pressure points, come along techniques, roll it up under there. All the things I learned as a young Marine, military policeman, we learned how to use these effectively. And I've used one, a regular Kubotan. But this one, I like to teach super, super simple. You want to know how to use a fighting stick, a palm stick, a Yawara, a Kubotan, or whatever you want to call it, a dongbong. You put it here and you aim for soft targets. You can remove or destroy. It's all about self-defense. You're not going hand to hand. It's not, it's not a roll of pennies to make your fist strong. You can, but most people who are going to use this for self-defense aren't going to go toe-to-toe with the person. That's not how you should defend yourself. If you are able to bring this here and he's behind you, right into the groin, right into, as you're turning, right into the ribs. This will go straight, this one especially, will go straight into the ribs, right into the temple. You're turning and it's right there. It's just a way to generate all of your force and put it right there. You'll get your drive back. Mick's World says, I got to get that drive back. Don't try to get the drive back. Start from where you are now. That's the whole point. People make this mistake all the time. Don't try to be who you were 30, 40, 50 years ago. You're not that. You're so much better than that now. I talk, because I work with so many older students, right? And I'm always telling, and that's the common refrain. Everybody says that. Oh, if I could reconnect with my youth, if I could reconnect with this. I used to be like this, and then I'm like, yeah, you weighed 120 pounds less. Maybe not that much, but probably somewhere in the range, 50, 60, 70 pounds, right? And instead of trying to be your 19-year-old self, which also there were a lot of bad parts about being 19. You forgot that, right? You just remember how strong you felt and how you were never sore. But think about what you have now. Now you have wisdom and strength and life and experience and appreciation, and you're not such an idiot like you were back then. No offense if you're 19 years old, but I'm thinking about me at 19. So take what you have now and move forward from there. Take everything you have and squeeze that and make that better and mold that into something. Instead of saying, oh, and this is our industry, martial arts industry, and Karate Mart knows this. all these guys and women, and they've got these broken, dusty trophies lining you won't find one in this building. You won't find one in the school I had for 26 years in Ohio. But just lined with all these broken old trophies from back in the day. And it's like the high school football guy who went to state, and he was the quarterback, and he was captain of the team. And he's now 54, and his belly's out to here, and he has no hair. And he can barely walk, and his bad back, and his bad knees. And he's still talking about when he was playing football in high school, right? It's the same thing in my industry, in the martial arts world. That's why I don't do any of that. That's why my name's not on the building. I don't want to call it a personality. I want to teach you something now. I want to take what you have now and make you better now. I don't want to say, well, when I was this, I won this champion. I was grand champion. And I have those stories. I was grand champion of such and such tournament and so, and I did this and that. And I might tell that story to somebody as it occurs to me, like telling a boot camp story, but it doesn't matter. How does that help you? It doesn't help you. That this guy 50 years ago was in good shape, but now look at him. He can barely walk and he's going to teach me? No. I'm 50 years old. How does a 50-year-old work with another 50-year-old or 20-year-old or 30 or whatever, or 70-year-old and say, look, that was fleeting anyway. When you're 19 years old, what you think is real is not real, right? You know that. So what's real now? What do you need to be able to do now? You're not going to get in the ring with Chuck Liddell. You're not going to be grounding and pounding. You're not going to grapple BJ Penn, a gifted Brazilian black belt in jiu-jitsu. It's going to be that homeless guy who is desperate and on drugs maybe. They're just over here. I see them every day. And you come out and they're a crime of opportunity. And you're going to your car, it's late at night, and you've had a couple drinks, or you're with your family, and now you feel compromised, and they come up aggressively, and then they're on something, and then they attack you. Or there's 2 or 3 of them, or you get jumped. How do you defend yourself against that now? Not how do you do a jump spinning 360 or 540 or 720 wheel kick. Yeah, that was cool. That's what you could do back then. Who cares? It doesn't matter. That was for fun. None of that was practical anyway. What does it look like now? What does self-defense look like? How can you take a fighting stick? Is a Uwar, is a palm stick an effective choice? Yeah, if you stick it right in his throat, if you go knock his teeth down his throat, smash into the nose, take the eyes out, his ability to see, go into that temple, go into the neck, go in between the ribs, go down into the groin. But that's how you keep it simple. You keep it simple, and then how do you keep yourself in shape? What does in shape look like? Flexibility, strength, mobility, and endurance. Can you create those things? Yes, you can. Can you be more flexible? You certainly can. Can you be as flexible as you were when you're 19? No, but you probably created a lot of damage when you were 19, and that's what you're paying for now. So instead of wishing for the day and lamenting and giving yourself an excuse not to get started, I need to get my mojo back, that's an excuse, just like everyone else is. Instead, you say, where am I now? And what's the next step forward? And the next step forward, and the next step forward. And start to measure that. And when you measure that, your quality of life improves. And you start to see yourself being better than you were the day before. And that's the only measure. If you copy yourself, this isn't my quote. This comes from Pat Mack, one of my mentors, a guy I went to, took a course from, and signed up for his online course, did his fitness course for a year, and learned from this guy. And in his courses, he's I'm gonna move this back a little bit, lift it up. I'm running out of juice in my mouth. I gotta go get a drink of water. But Pat Mack in his courses teaches. So he's a combat arms group, the unit, Delta Force. They call him Delta. During the Cold War, and he is a bad dude. And he is. And he's not faking it when you meet him. And he's a multifaceted person. He's an artist. He's a musician. And his saying is, if you cloned yourself today, could you kick your ass tomorrow? So tomorrow, can you be better than the version you are today? And that's the only measure. And that's one step at a time. My assistant just brought me some water. That's a good assistant. He's also my son. He's a good kid. Thank you, buddy. All right, so let's end it with that. If you clone yourself today, and I hope I'm saying it right, you get the idea, right? If there's 2 of you, and one of them is a day older, tomorrow's guy, is he kicking your butt today? Or are you declining every single day? And most of us get in that whiny, complaining cycle where we're just saying, oh, I'm getting old. Are you getting old, or did you stop moving your body? Because most people stop moving their body at a certain age. Thank you, Chief of Beef. I really appreciate that. That really helps. And Matthew says he's working his way out of a wheelchair. Wants to start working his upper body. Yeah, and you will. And I promise you, you just keep moving in the same direction. It's like when I stretch. Bill Superfoot Wallace. Some of you guys know Bill Superfoot Wallace lives down the street. I was working out with my boxing coach when I first got to West Palm Beach, right before COVID, or for a while before COVID. And I would go in, and I love Cuban boxing because, even though I don't love communism, I love Cuban boxing. They're like the purest boxers. They're the best boxers, amateur. And I have this Cuban boxing coach, and he's teaching me the boxing. And I'm working out, we're warming up in the ring, and this grizzled old dude gets in there, white hair. He's got karate pants on from like 1942 or something, and he's not that old. He's in his 70s, but he's not that old. And he gets in there, and he's like, hey man, you mind if I get the corner to stretch? And I'll throw some, do some shadow boxing. And I'm thinking to myself, that's Bill Superfoot Wallace. And, because I'm from Ohio, he's from Indiana, growing up, going to tournaments. I'd see him all the time. He'd do all these seminars, and he was the guy, man. He was in the fight. He was in all the movies. He was the best kickboxer, and he was just that one leg. If you guys don't know Bill Superfoot Wallace, you got to look him up. Anyway, afterward, I said, hey, introduce myself. You don't remember me. I've been to like 50 or seminars, but you don't remember me. And anyway, if I could ever interview you, if I could work out, he's like, yeah, come. I'm here every whatever day and whatever day. Just show up, and we'll work out. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And so, I make sure my workouts coincide with his, and then I would talk to him, I'd pick his brain, I'd do a little video. And he was always talking about how, because he's also an exercise physiologist, and he still fights. And he's like a Corvette. He's like still cool and fast, and he can move fast, right? He's in his 70s, but he's still fighting, and he still has the moves. And he says people assume age slows you down, but it's not the age. It's sitting for 45 years behind a desk doing the same job. Or maybe you played golf for 50 years. And so you're like, well, I've been active. I've been playing golf for 50 years. But playing golf for 50 years, doing the exact same thing over and over again, your body's adapted, and now you can't barely walk, or your belly's... I've seen guys playing tennis with bad knees and their guts out to here, and they're 80 years old, and they're out there hitting. And they're like, I've been doing tennis for 50 years. Why am I not in shape? Well, you got to challenge yourself. That's the beauty of martial arts. Martial arts is all over the place. It makes yourself grow. Challenge yourself. Do something different. Get out of your comfort zone. Get in that, all your workouts need to be in the discomfort zone. Not incredible. Matthew said he's working to get himself out of the wheelchair. He doesn't need to be out there rucking and running and climbing up the mountain. He needed, because for you, Matthew, it's just a little bit more than you're doing now. That gets you out of the comfort zone, and that's true for all of us. You have to stop comparing yourself to your 19-year-old self, but you also stop comparing yourself to Jocko and David Goggins and Pat Mack, and instead look in the mirror and say, where am I now? Where am I going to be tomorrow? Can I go 1% more? Because if you do 1% more, and not 10%, not 10x, but 1% more, 1% more, 1%. Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate that. But just 1% more, it accumulates, it compounds. It's like interest when you start to invest in yourself and your money in your 401k or your 403b or your IRA or your retirement plan or whatever. It compounds over time. But you have to do just that tiny bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and trust and have faith in the process. It's like I said, before you buy the gym membership, it's squats, push-ups, and jacks. That's it. Side straddle hops for you old Marines, right? Just jumping jacks. Jumping jacks, if you want to modify them, bring them up the middle. Act like you're back in football when you had your shoulder pads on. Better if you can stretch your body out. But do that for 2 weeks. And if doing 100 of these or doing these for 30 seconds, if that's hard, catch your breath and do it again. And then do it again and do it again and do it again. And until you're uncomfortable and you don't like it. And once you get to the point where it feels like, oh man, I should stop, then keep going. That's how you grow and you get into that discomfort zone. And all of your growth comes from the discomfort zone. None of it is in the comfort zone. So when you're doing your jacks every day, and they become super easy, then add a squat every 2 or 3. Put them together. And then go faster. Increase speed, increase intensity, or increase the number of repetitions, or increase complexity. Make it a little bit harder. Add that little squatting motion. Do that for 2 weeks. Create the habit. It's not motivation. Motivation is crap. I was going to say the wrong word. Motivation is garbage. Motivation is like this much. People look for motivation, they get all motivated, and then they quit. Jim Rohn, one of my other mentors, I love this, his quote. He used to say, problem with motivating an idiot is you get a motivated idiot. So don't go for motivation, go for education. And in this case, don't go for motivation, go for discipline. Make your bed, brush your teeth, right? Wash your nasty self, and then do your jumping jacks. When you don't want to, do your jumping jacks. When they hurt, your back hurts, do one leg, right? Your Matthew in your wheelchair, you can do this, whatever it is. If it's this, do this. If it's this, do this. And just do something and move in the direction. That's how I started on Bill Superfoot Wallace. I knew I'd find my way back around to it. He would say, if you can't reach it yet, just move in that direction. When you start stretching, you want incredible, because he's got incredible flexibility, even in 76, 77, whatever he is now, incredible flexibility. And he's like, if you don't have the flexibility yet, go in that direction and just keep moving in that direction. And the next day you'll be a little bit more, and the next day a little bit more, and the next day a little bit more. And eventually, if you don't stop moving in that direction, you're gonna get there. But yeah, don't waste your time on motivation. Or do like a 30-second motivation. Pump yourself up 30 seconds, and then discipline. Get down on the floor and do some push-ups. Or like in Matthew's case, if you're in a chair, if you're not able to get on the floor, do something from where you are. Do something, pushing something, pulling something, lifting something. Work on just getting mobility in your body, and don't give up, don't quit, and don't care about what other people say. You guys are so awesome with the super chats, and listen to me babble for the last however long we've done this. But you guys make this thing possible, and I am so grateful and always appreciative of our time that we spend together. This is the Global Dojo. This is how we all learn and grow together. Just teaching in person, that's not as fun anymore. And thanks for saying great motivational advice. Like I said, I want to motivate just 1%. The rest of the time, I want to be standing there like a pit bull, right on, or a drill instructor, right there saying, hey, don't worry. And all you guys worrying about your guts. Stop worrying about your gut. It's not your stomach. It's your posture. Almost all the time, if you learn how to stand up, bring your chin back and pull your belly up and in, your gut goes away for almost everybody. Now, does that mean that you don't have fat? No, you might still have too much fat. So eat a little bit healthier. But don't worry about your looks. Worry about your health. Worry about your fitness. Worry about how you feel about yourself. That's the kind of stuff, because people start thinking so much about their stomach, and I look this and I look that. And someone sent me a text the other day, one of my clients, my hands look old. He said his hands look old. And I said, tell me again how old you are. And he said, well, I'm 72. And I said, oh, well, that's why your hands look old, because you're 72. Buy some cream and stick them on your hand. We watch the women do it, and they put all the creams on, and it firms them up, and it hydrates and gets the collagen, and they look better. So if you're worried about your hands looking old, put some cream on your hands, but stop worrying about your hands. Stop worrying about what you can't control. Worry about what you can control. Can you throw your shoulders back down, drop your chin, add a smile? I don't care how old, fat, and ugly I get. As long as I can smile, it changes my appearance. So work on your smile. And when I don't smile, because I have a natural resting face like that, then everybody thinks I'm in a miserable mood. So that's what I control. I can't control that. I mean, I can put some lotion on. That might help a little bit, right? But I'm not going to worry about that. I can't control it. If you're worrying about your belly, get your shoulders back, stand up straight, work on your posture every morning, suck your gut up and in, shoulders back and down, breathe, and smile. Smile while you take deep breaths. Even if you look like an idiot, because it's not for anybody else, it's for you. And you work on that, and then that's what makes your life full and rich and rewarding. It's not all of the other stuff. It's not all the superficial stuff. It's like what comes out from the outside is from here. Chris says, channel's gold. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I've been doing this for a while now, but like I said, I do this. I get better because you guys. And I tell people in person, I've been teaching forever. I studied teaching to try to be the best teacher I possibly could. I had a goal. I started a nonprofit in the martial arts world. I wanted to change lives, man, like so many of us do. And I said, if I'm going to be a powerful teacher, I better learn how to teach. But I never have been as good as I am now, and it's all because of you. When we have this interaction, you give me the feedback that makes me better and it helps me grow. Plus, here's the other thing, you have to remember this. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. When I'm trying to tell you things that you need to remember to stop worrying about your whininess, I'm talking to myself. And that's what is true. I'm no better than anybody else. I'm not unflawed, and I'm not, I've got all these same issues, but I'm working on it. I know you're working on it. We're working on it together, and that's what makes this a real community. This is our virtual dojo. Quantum Martial Arts exists physically in 1,300 square feet in Lake Park, Florida. But it exists worldwide because of the miracle of the internet and digital cameras and you being here with me.